I've spent a lot of time working in the trades with small framing crews that are on an intense pressure to be competitive, really feeling like you're being squeezed at all times. You know, when I was framing houses in Edmonton, things were going well, and then things took a turn for the worse, and these smaller crews that had cropped up everywhere just were gone overnight. And those people lost their jobs and were just sitting at home.
When I was a teenager, I was super into conspiracy theories and all those fun things. It's like, oh my God, there's so much crap out there. Like, there's so much evil, and the scale of the economic forces on the world, like learning about that was just mind-blowing and scary because it felt so big. Like, you know, like however many millions of transactions are happening in any second with money digitally, like over the whole globe, is just sort of mind-blowing. It's like, what are we doing? This is all bullshit.
I think that the current economic system is predicated on the maximization of profit. That's a really unsustainable system because we're trying to grow every company everywhere in a finite world, and we're facing increasing pressures around environmental devastation, climate change, unemployment, and inequality.
So Chris came in with sort of his background in construction, his background in, you know, I think he was working on his PhD. So like super smart guy, really into the politics of it, but wanting to get his hands dirty and work to create this workers' co-op model.
Actually going to Groundswell was a very good moment for me to find people who thought similarly, that really wanted to actualize projects in the world that would be something different.
Groundswell is a nonprofit society, and we are a community-based social venture incubator. So we offer really accessible business knowledge in a really comfortable, cozy environment, and try to offer that education to people who are turned off by sort of ordinary business education.
I went through that program, and out of that launched what later became Woodshop Workers Co-op. A workers cooperative is an incorporated company that is owned solely by its workers. So its workers invest in the cooperative, and the cooperative's mandate is to provide, as a service, meaningful employment to its members.
I've worked in pretty much the entire gamut of the industry at this point. It's my first time not being a wage slave in general.
There's all sorts of projects that are coming up all the time, and so I feel like it's a little bit like when I was teaching, where different students would come to me and have these kind of far out ideas of things that they would want to make, and then we would troubleshoot it and figure out how to build it and move forward. But this is like that on a shorter timeline. And this is like, go.
My function here at the co-op is I'm a custom builder. So you want a bed made and you have an exact idea of what it is you want. I'm kind of the guy that realizes it. It's all different, you know. I could be building a pink box one day and then a bunk bed the next.
I'd say that our roles within our co-op are somewhat fluid, but for the most part in a day-to-day operation set. It's important, I think, to find a good balance in a worker co-op between the large-scale decisions and not being too set in stone in your roles, but nevertheless on a day-to-day basis, really just doing your job within its confines and doing it well.
We make crates and cutting boards, beds and tabletops, lots of tabletop.
Changes all the time. There's no set hours here. It's kind of like, this is what you have to do this month or this week. Make sure you get it done. So yeah, my schedule is all over the place. Usually I'm not here before 11 though.
I think we all come to the table with our own angles and our own skills, and all want to give each other the autonomy to be our own people and do our own thing. I live 5 minutes away by bike, so really sometimes my mornings are slower and I do more administration in the morning, and then I come down and work, and I'm really loving the quiet evenings in the shop once all of the hubbub is over, and I quite often am here into the evening, machines humming and music on.
This definitely can be challenging at times, you know, when you have people coming from different backgrounds, different personality types. You know, we've had some challenges.
As you would have for any challenge for running a small business, trying to make sure you're bringing enough money in to pay the members. You need to be changing according to customer desires and needs.
A co-op, I think, is a good example of this, like, everyday kind of messy, complex democracy that is the reality. It's not the ideal. Cooperatives, which are democratically controlled, are sort of a bit more of that on the ground training, I guess, in like the actual practice of democracy.
Well, it's not going to twist it anymore, right? So if we bring it.
I think communication is the main thing. You know, that's the lifeblood, really, of a co-op, is making sure that everybody's always on the same page. Because without that, it's just kind of chaos, right?
We get some critiques or some suggestions, I guess, that what we're doing is not feasible, or based on some romantic ideals of socialism or kind of a communist utopia or something like that. And the people who would say that socialism or communism doesn't work, I guess I would answer in a number of different ways. The first being that capitalism doesn't work either. This sort of taken for granted a reality that we have, this is just how the world is or something. It's like, well, who agreed that, we would have a political system that is democratically controlled and operated, but not an economy that's democratically controlled and operating? Who made that decision, and why is that a taken for granted reality?
I think my venture into the social economy world has really opened my eyes to how many people out there are really fighting the good fight and are really trying to build stronger communities and are really trying to create a system that's more sustainable.
It's the freedom aspect that's the best part, really, for me. The idea that you can kind of dictate your own schedule. And I also do other things outside of woodworking too. I play music, so it's really complementary, those two things. And that's why I can usually roll in after a gig at noon, and it's okay, as long as I get my stuff done.
So many people are down and out or dissatisfied at work and working for the man or the shareholder or whatever, that the more we educate people about the option of co-ops, the more people get it.